David, if you are one of 10,000 clients who received a letter from Bay Oral Surgery and Implant Center this week, listen up. There's been a privacy incident. Your information could be at risk.
Back in January, Bay Oral discovered an unauthorized person accessed an employee's email account and viewed client information. Then in February, the company confirmed the breach and just this past week notified clients. In the Consumer First Alert, Brittany Smith joins us now in our newsroom to tell us why clients are just hearing about this now and what they can do to protect themselves. Brittany.
Bill and Cami, I talked to an identity theft expert, James Lee, today, who says it's not unusual for people to hear about a breach several weeks or months after it happened. Now, in this case, according to Bay Oral, clients' information was viewed. The expert tells me if it had been removed or copied, there would be a trail and make it much easier for the company to tell exactly where the risk is. But because it was only available to be viewed, Lee says it likely took longer to figure out what might be at risk. So here's what we know about this incident. Investigators found that the unauthorized person installed software, accessed emails, and viewed patient information, including social security numbers and banking information. While questions remain, Lee says how you protect yourself remains the same, no matter what happened. The goal is to make the information less usable. Change your password, make it unique, and log for accounts. Use multi-factor authentication and freeze your credit to prevent new credit from being taken out in your name. Bay Oral declined our interview request today. In a press release, Bay Oral says it has since changed IT companies, added new protections, and is no longer storing protected health information in emails. Lee says that practice is not unusual for small businesses, but it poses a big problem. For the past 6 years, healthcare in the U.S. has been the single most attacked industry that leads to a data breach because there are so many different organizations involved in the supply chain.
Smaller organizations, they are often the weakest link, and the bad actors know that, and that's why they will target them, so then they can get the access to other larger organizations and more organizations, and it spreads out exponentially.
The business says it's not aware of any reports of identity fraud or improper uses of the information at this time. Cami, Bill.